Okay, let's just jump right in. What if the line between sci-fi and, well, reality just completely blurred? We are right on the edge of a technology that could literally change everything we think we know about life, about death, about what it even means to be human. We're talking about uploading our minds into a digital universe. So I'm going to ask you a question, straight up. If you had the chance to live forever, but as data, would you take it? And look, this isn't just some late night philosophical debate anymore. With everything happening in neuroscience and AI, this question is moving out of the classroom and honestly into our very near future. When you boil it all down, this whole idea is tapping into one of the oldest human dreams, right? To beat death. The promise here is to step outside our fragile biological bodies and find a whole new way to, well, to exist. And we need to be super clear about what we're talking about here. This is so much more than just, backing up your photos to the cloud. We are talking about translating the entirety of you, every single memory, every hope, every silly fear, every moment of pure joy, and turning it all into a living, breathing stream of information. Okay, but how on earth could we even pull this off? I mean, the technical challenge it's just staggering. Let's really try to get our heads around just how big of a mountain this is to climb. Just look at this number for a second. 86 billion. That's how many neurons we think are packed into a single human brain. And get this, each one of those has thousands of connections to other neurons. The scale we're talking about here, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around. But it's not just about the numbers, not by a long shot. The real, and I mean real, hard part isn't just mapping some static blueprint of the brain. The true challenge is capturing the living process itself, that constantly changing electrical, chemical symphony that's happening inside our skulls every single second. It's kind of like the difference between having a photo of an orchestra and actually recording their music. Okay, but let's just imagine for a moment we figure it all out. The tech is there, it works. The second we do that, we slam right into a huge philosophical wall, a question that people have been wrestling with for centuries, the problem of identity. And this is where this classic old thought experiment comes in, the ship of Theseus. The puzzle goes like this. If you have a ship and you replace every single piece of wood on it, one by one, over time, when you're done, is it still the same ship? Now just think about that. But instead of a ship, we're talking about you. And this really gets to the heart of the problem, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the biological you, the one who's physical, who lives a finite life. But on the other side, you have this digital you, who could live forever, who's made of data, and who, crucially, could be copied. So is that digital version really you? Or is it more like a perfect clone, an identical twin, who just wakes up with all your memories the second someone flips a switch? Which leads us to this pretty haunting question, right? Have we actually conquered death? Or did we just create a perfect digital ghost that lives on after the real you is gone? And believe me, the fallout from this doesn't just stop with you, the individual. If this technology ever becomes real, it would completely tear up the rule book for society as we know it. Just take a look at this. This lays out a really startling new reality. A brand new, maybe the ultimate class divide. You could have the uploaded elite over here living basically forever in whatever virtual world they want. And then there's everyone else, the biologicals, still stuck here in the physical world. I mean, think about the enormous gap that creates in how long you live, where you live, even what your basic rights are. And the practical problems? Oh, they are just mind-boggling. Our whole legal system would go into a tailspin. We'd have to figure out a million new things, like how do you redefine work? What about love and relationships? Who gets to decide the legal status of a digital person? I mean, who even owns a digital mind? What happens if someone unplugs the server? Our entire society, top to bottom, would be put to the test. So all of this, it really pushes us into a corner, forcing us to ask some of the deepest questions there are. Like, what's the whole point of living a life anyway? And what does it really mean to leave a legacy? And this quote, I think it just nails it. Isn't mortality part of what gives our lives meaning, what lends urgency and depth to everything we do? Think about it. The fact that we know our time is short, that's what makes our choices feel important. It's what gives everything, our work, our relationships, that sense of urgency, that depth. So what happens to our purpose if you just take that deadline away? So that's the big question we're left with. Is this a future that cheapens the beautiful, fragile, and meaningful experience of being human? Or is this our next great evolutionary leap? elevating us beyond our physical bodies to something more.
At the end of the day, the technology to do this might get here way before we have any of the answers. Our science is moving so much faster than our philosophy. We're building the car before we've learned how to drive. So the real question isn't just can we do this, it's are we ready for what happens when we do?